This is her hometown news station. It was a dream for her to work at WDBJ7. This is the photo Araya's father held up in the courtroom today. He said he wanted people to see the face of the little girl who was killed over a car. But crime tape is still up. Now, what we do know is that a person shot himself outside of the Waffle House at about 3:45. Still heavy police presence out here, and part of the road now is blocked off. John, who this man is what makes this case so interesting. A few years ago, we interviewed Jonathan Kraft after his daughter was severely beaten and shaken to death. Well, he told me it's actually a lot quieter than they expected. Let me show you 460, a major road here in Lynchburg. You could tell not a lot of cars are out, and it's a time of day when it's usually really packed, with Liberty University right there. For majority of the hearing, Jill Harrington was sitting in the front looking directly at Jesse Matthews. She said she wanted her presence to be like a white hot flame in that courtroom. The fire has now spread quickly across the mountain behind me. Now, it's hard to imagine what crews are actually dealing with, so we wanted to show you an exclusive footage from above. Yeah, they wouldn't say if he was in a gang or how he's connected to some of these incidents. Police say they're focused on finding out whoever is responsible.
I mean, those many shots at a time, you don't know where they're going to go.
Margaret Miller was at home when she heard shots fired in front of her house Monday morning.
It really scared us. We didn't know what was going on, and we jumped up and everything, but we stayed back in the back because it's safer in the back when shots and stuff are going on.
Police say 8 shots were fired into this home on the 1100 block of Y Street. No one was injured, but police say this shooting is connected to 5 others, including the fatal shooting of 16-year-old Jesse Page over the weekend on 13th Street. His brother says Page was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's my mom's son. That's my brother. Like, anybody would feel the same way we feel.
However, police say the shootings are all drug or gang related. A few blocks away from where Page and 2 other people were shot, a home on the 1000 block of Floyd Street was also another target. Clyde Hubbard, who lives a few houses down, says he's scared for his grandchildren who visit him.
Well, I think all this needs to be stopped. Some more innocent people going to get killed. I don't know what all this is about, but it needs to be stopped.
Police say they want to find all those connected to the shootings and find justice for Page's family, but are having a hard time. They say the public isn't cooperating, but are hoping people would come forward before someone else falls victim. Now, police say that they have increased some of their patrols up where some of the incidents have happened, like here on 13th Street, but they say the public isn't in great danger. However, they do want people to come forward if they have any tips. So far, police have 70 leads on this case. In Lynchburg, Ananda Rochita, WSLS 10. In the early to mid-1900s, these now abandoned buildings at the Central Virginia Training Center in Madison Heights were filled with hundreds of children and young adults. They are brought to the hospital, deemed unfit or mentally deficient for society.
Both of us up here at the same time.
Sadie and Janet Ingram, sisters raised in foster care, were dropped off as children here by their social workers.
All we could do was look out the windows.
They both described the training center as a jail, and by the time doctors told them they could leave, the sisters had unknowingly undergone surgery. Janet and Sadie were both sterilized.
But I didn't know what they were going to do to us. After it was all over, they took me back in my bedroom. I got in the bed, and I woke up, and my stomach was hurting. I said, something's wrong with my stomach. And I looked down there. It was a long cut, and it had staples in it.
Sterilization was a measure started by the state to prevent what they classified as the mentally ill from having children. To understand why this happened, we have to go back about 90 years when the Eugenical Sterilization Act was signed into law in Virginia. Under the act, people who were considered mentally ill, have any form of insanity, or even poor, had to be sent to state institutions like this one.
And I don't think it's right.
As a teenager, Lewis Reynolds was sterilized here because doctors diagnosed him with epilepsy after suffering temporary seizures when he was accidentally hit in the head with a rock.
And I think it's wrong for them to take my rights away from me having a family and grandchildren. I live by myself, and nobody there to help me out whatsoever.
After leaving the center, he would serve 30 years in the Marine Corps, a man who the state labeled unfit to have children. However, during Reynolds' childhood, the eugenics movement spread across the country, and in Virginia, about 8,000 people were sterilized. Do you remember a lot of what happened here?
Oh, yeah.
Rosemary Brooks is another victim. At 17 years old, this is a photo of her when she first came to the hospital. Today, Brooks walked us through the campus where she spent 11 years. So do you remember all these old buildings too?
Oh, yeah.
Brooks says she lost her childhood here and now wants the state to do something to compensate her and other victims.
I said, why? You know, I said, nobody deserves to have this.
The victims are asking for compensation and for their medical records to be opened for family members if they pass away. North Carolina approved compensation for $50,000 for each of the remaining sterilization victims. However, in Virginia, a similar compensation bill didn't get passed in the most recent budget. Mark Bold with the Christian Line Institute has been working with the victims to get them what they deserve.
And unfortunately, we can't undo the past wrong, you know, so the only method we can do is provide them some type of financial compensation to say, I'm sorry.
So far, fewer than 10 victims have come forward, all between the ages of 60 to 90. They say their time on Earth is now limited.
Virginia, they waiting for us to die.
Looking back at a place that houses dark memories.
Yeah, that was a hospital. Same hospital.
And a stay at the Central Virginia Training Center that still haunts them decades later. People come to River Edge Park for views of the James River. But now cameras are pointed beyond the water, capturing shots of this rare scene.
That's not a normal sound we normally hear.
Amanda Fortner was one of the people who witnessed the aftermath of the derailment.
It's not something you're expecting, and it was a lot of smoke and something you hope to be prepared for, and we were.
She's used to hearing trains go by, working just a few yards away from the tracks at Amazement Square. Whenever the sounds of trains are nearby, children watch them from this fourth-floor window. The center is usually packed with several hundred children, but now is closed, just like other businesses by where the derailment happened. Depot Grill is a restaurant in an area blocked off for only crews to come in. However, they've been able to stay busy with some unlikely customers.
We've been in operation 24/7 since. The NTSB and CSX have made the Depot Grill their headquarters, and we're feeding them.
Some of the people from the NTSB will stay here for several more days to investigate. There were about 100 rail cars involved in the derailment, and as you can see, the NTSB is still pulling some of the tanks out of the James River and moving them to a place where they can inspect them further. Officials from the NTSB say it'll take more than a year to complete their whole investigation. And for now, crews continue to work while people from across the water watch as more answers to questions about what happened are slowly unfolding. In Lynchburg, Ananda Rochita, WFSLS 10.